All right, what's going on out there? Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, friends and Moogles. It's your boy, the Schwantz27. I am joined in the booth tonight by Drinks Glue. Drinks Glue, how are you feeling? You were feeling a little under the weather last week. Is all that sickness now gone out of you? Or do you need Kefka to hit you with some light of judgment?
No, it's not a lot of me. Thank you for asking, though. But we are on the mend. We're getting a little bit better every day. But yeah. What do we have in store for Schwantz? Long time no see, by the way. I feel like I haven't talked to you in ages.
Yeah, no, it's been forever and ever. So we are going to do a vodcast, and this time we are doing it from the Fallen Run semifinals. So this concluded yesterday, as of the recording of this stream on Sunday. But these three racers gave it their all, and this was a super cool set of videos to watch back. So I decided, hey, let's throw them all together and make it look like this is a race, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. So Drink School, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Havoc ring flags? We'll go over those real fast before we get to the runners here.
Yeah, the Havoc ring flag set, a little different than what we've seen so far throughout the Kefka Grand Prix flag set. In short, there is a lot going on. We are starting with a Shock Sabin, who is cosplaying as Leo, which is a fantastic start. The rest of it is a little less fantastic. Not a lot going on that's positive for you. We do get hit with Fall on 1 5 times based on the number of checks that we complete. Permadeath is on, although we do start with 6 minutes downs. Auto condemned is inflicted on anybody. And not to be outdone, the most darning thing of all, and the most punishing in my opinion, we have a 1/8 sell rate in for all of items back to shops. For example, in Ultros League or other flag sets, you'll typically find it's about half. 1/8, it's very punishing. We'll see how punishing that is exactly when our runners get out and going and they visit a vendor or two. But on the bright side, we do start with 62k GP, so we do have some money for some consumables and maybe one or two goodies to get out there. And we do also have YMP receive move, although with advantage on animation going for us. And last but not least, we can multi-summon any espers that we do come across that would like to summon more than once.
Yeah, so that means we'll have immediate access to the Curse Shield. Ultima is available at 254 MP, and in my experience, that is the thing you should always do, given the fact that the statues, the Warring Triad, will be in Kefka's Tower, although they will be shuffled amongst their original positions. So really good to have a Paladin Shield for those particular fights there. So that's essentially how we're going to get on with our seed here. So let's go ahead and get started. And I believe we start with Sabin with Shock, as you had mentioned here. And we'll have our runners get off and running. Forgive me as it's a VOD, so they might not be precisely on time, as we do see Lock with Throw is our other character here.
Ooh.
So Drinks Glue, when we have a Throw Lock to accompany our Shock Leo, what does that usually signal to you besides I can kill anything?
To be honest with you, Throw and Shock may be the two best abilities you could possibly start with. As I kind of touched on a little bit earlier, we do have 62,000 gold pieces to start with. However, once we're out of that, it's going to be kind of hard to come across some stuff. So hopefully we find some skins that we're able to afford, and not a whole lot of other stuff, because again, we're going to be a little limited. Yakko going straight to the World of Ruin weapon shop, and it's a 4-summer Valiant knife.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy choice.
Tough choice there.
Yeah, so hopefully we could find another person that can use the Valiant knife, because I'm going to want to keep Locke to using his throw ability, but sometimes you might have to go ahead and use the stuff that the seed gives you there, as White Dress in a shop for Nani Gray, putting it on their Leo, who will use Shock. So that's a really good heads-up pickup. 2200 GP for a +5 magic power piece of armor. That is using that 62,000 GP wisely.
Yes, indeed. They're going to go ahead and pick up some sleeping bags too. Sleeping bags are huge because the way the Fallen 1 objective works is basically when you complete the requisite acquirements, Fallen 1 will be cast on your party, but it's just like the Fallen 1 ability that Final Kefka and various other encounters can cast. It's going to take all of your characters' HP down to 1, but the good news is as long as you are aware that text comes across the screen and what it does, you have plenty of time to pull out a Cure 3, pull out some sleeping bags, or just visit uh, the beginner house bucket and get your HP back up and up. Up and up.
Yeah, so it usually comes into play with some routing decisions sometimes. For example, we do start with Sabin. So I will tend to go to Barren Falls, that gives you a story heal right before the check, right after the Fallen 1 objective gets hit on you. Or I'll go do Phantom Train right after my Fallen 1 objective so that I could drink from that gross lake in the Phantom Forest. So that will help me conserve some of my money for sleeping bags and whatnot. But we'll see exactly how our runners decide how to interact with that Fallen 1 mechanic. The other interesting mechanic is auto-condemned. So that will have a number over your head, and basically once that hits 0, you will instantly die. If you do die and get revived, you no longer have the condemned counter. So that's the one good thing about dying in a permadeath seed, is when you get back up, you won't have condemned, but we only have 6 Phoenix Downs, and that's it. We're not going to find them in shops, we're not going to find them in chests. Healing buckets don't bring your characters back, nor do tents, nor do story events, nor does the Coliseum, which doesn't have EXP eggs or Illuminas in them. So really, you have to be careful of your 6 Phoenix Downs. What is your typical strategy, Glue, with the Phoenix Downs? Do you tend to conserve them and reset anytime you die, or do you sort of use them and get more conservative when you get less and less of them later in the seed?
It really depends on a number of things. One, for example, is when do you die? Did you die when you had access close to a save point where it's an immediate reset and you're right back where you were? Did you have to travel quite a bit to run into your unfortunate fate? And those are the type of scenarios where, hey, maybe I have to take a while to get back to this fight. This might be a time to burn a Phoenix down. Whereas if you walk right into a check where you fight the boss right away, whatever, like say Wilt Gate, and then your characters take a wife or two, that's the type of scenario where you probably want to consider resetting, because you can just walk right back up and instantly be back up to that fight and up to par.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I tend not to do it mid-boss fight because it sort of gives you so little HP, right, when you get up, that you're gonna get hit back down again, because the AI always knows basically when you revive somebody. This is a really nice fight here for Nani Gray.
That's a fantastic fight for Nani. That's you couldn't ask for much more than that fight right there. Chaos Dragons give huge loads of XP. Another thing about Chaos Dragons, they're pretty friendly. They don't do anything for the first couple of turns. However, if you keep them around long enough, they will cast Disaster on the first turn. But that brings up another good point for these flag sets. There's an ability called Phase Shift introduced into the flags. And what Phase Shift does is just shuffles all of the characters' abilities, right? So you can have Tritok, who's typically trying to do ice spells or shenanigans that are ice related to you. Tritok won't quite be doing that. He will be doing Aqua Rake, he'll be casting Flare Star, he'll be casting some other things on you. What are they? Nobody knows until you find them and you find out.
Yeah, random ability scaling certainly makes your bosses more difficult to predict what type of attacks they will do. And most of the time it makes them more difficult than normal, because they will get their abilities shuffled to either something that's non-elemental or something that you don't have resistance to, like an earth spell or a pearl spell, for instance.
Yeah. One of the really tricky things about the Havoc Ring is that typically when you fight Poltergeist, a Flame Shield is good enough, because it's going to negate most of his dangerous attacks, save for a handful that are just unfortunate to begin with. You're probably going to survive anyways. But when you can't have that Flame Shield in your back pocket, and that Fire 3 and that Burton becomes Grand Train and Bolt 3, and you can't really predict that, it just makes them that much more dangerous.
Enhancers in the shop there, World of Ruin, Nikea there for Nani Gray. Also finding some Ninja Stars. I think Yakko Wacko went into the Returner's hideout and found a couple of elemental schemes. So we already have some things for Locke to do already in the seed. So it will depend on if we get our Atlas armlets or our earrings to supplement our builds here.
Yeah, Hyper Risk right there for Nani for his throw lock. That's low key, kind of goes under the radar, but that's huge. some of the abilities that rely on physical damage, strength is much more pertinent and more impactful in the damage formula with Sword Tech, for example. So Hyper Wrist, actually, there are scenarios where if your strength is high enough, that can actually do more damage having a Hyper Wrist as opposed to an Atlas Armlet.
Yeah, great point there. We will see what's going on in the base. Oh, hello. Hi there.
Oh, hello. Hi. Yeah. That goes great with an offering, don't you think?
That the offering does go great with a Valiant Knife for sure. And Nani Gray did also buy a Cursed Ring, which I really like a lot. That will teach you X Zone at a 5x rate, and you never know if you're going to find instant death in your seed. So for less than $1,000, I always pick that up. And we are already condemned in this entire seed, so it doesn't really matter that you'll get the condemned counter as an effect from it. And it looks like Bubba Ski is heading in the wrong way to the South Figaro cave check. I bet this is take off the Moogle Charm and do some grinding here.
Oh, definitely 100%. Hopefully he doesn't go too far into the cave and step on some tiles he might not want to step on, or else he won't be able to walk out as comfortably as he wants to, but we'll see here. Oh, Warp Stones for Nani. I think Warp Stones are one of the most important things for the Havoc Ring flag set to find. The Y NPC remove ability gives you access to two checks that are out of logic that almost require Warp Stones. Are not necessarily required, but you really want Warp Stones if you want to do them. And that's Magitech Factory 1 or 2 for Celeste, and Mount Zozo for Cyan. Being able to kind of, get out of logic and kind of carve a different pathway through a seed can be huge, especially if the seed is very linear and all the characters are on a certain long path, and that path is very long. You can kind of circumvent it. So that gives him access to a couple spots possibly to get around that.
Yakko Wacko and World of Balance. Mobliz finding some earrings and a peace ring in the relic shop there. So that'll be great to uncurse that shield and to power up our Shock Leo character as well. So huge find for him here. And Bubba Ski has throw, but he's also got some enemies that know how to use throw as well. So he better be careful with this fight here.
He is almost through, just down to one Soul Dancer, but that last Soul Dancer is a little spicier than what you're gonna want to see. But that's alright. I think the shock should do it for him.
Yeah, he's just gonna have to maybe burn this Phoenix down here, which he might not want to have happen.
Oh no! Did you see what he got?
Excuse us.
Yeah, Locke can stay down the rest of the sea for all I care after that line.
Yeah, so those little tumbleweed-looking things will potentially drop Super Balls, and Bubba Ski got 2 of them. So that's really, really nice to have here. Yakko Wacko, unfortunately, I think he's on the Veld, and you do not get any XP from the fights on the Veld. So get back in the airship and get the heck out of here. He keeps getting grabbed on his way back. That's unfortunate.
You think maybe he's doing a cursed shield play here?
Oh, that is possible. But I would rather just get XP for my cursed shield fight, and he's leaving the airship behind.
Yeah. He did dirty up the belt a little bit with that Telstar, probably from a monster in a box, but
yeah,
I don't super hate it. It's a little unorthodox, but sometimes creativity is we'll all start doing it if you do it. Something no one else has done before, so.
Yeah, well, the Lobos are 1-shot, and those Telstars are a 2-shot, so these fights are not going to take very long. You're just not going to get any XP, and I would value XP over uncursing the shield, but this is probably the fastest way to go ahead and do it with these really simple fights. As Nani Gray is into the collapsing house here, did not see a soldier sprite on the outside, or rather a character sprite on the outside, and Bubba Ski heading into the Imperial camp here.
Yeah, that's another hyper wrist for Nani Gray. Courtesy of that Spectre.
Yeah, so the curse shield count was at 9, I believe. So 9 is usually pretty good regardless, but in these seeds, Glue, I feel like the curse shield is almost mandatory with having the statues and the KT.
Yeah. Oh no. This is going to be hard with that curse shield action going on with Locus. Maybe reset or call it.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Shock will do a bunch of damage, but he's not on level 3.
But either way, Katana Soul is pretty beefy. This is probably one of those things where I would reset out and just log away for later. But typically, the farther advanced into a seed you get, the less dangerous Katana Soul becomes. But when you're in that awkward territory where you're like between level 3 and 10
Yeah.
or 15, and you don't have access to muddle some way to kind of circumvent his ability to kill himself, you're just better off storing that away for later.
So, Bubaski does see that Old Man Strago is wandering around in the soldiers' quarters here, so that'll be our third character. And Yakko Wacko did something I've never seen anybody do in a run before, which is to sleep in the bed of the relic shop at Mobliz, because you can go you can go just crash in that guy's bed, and you'll get your HP and MP back, which is really heads up play. Like we mentioned, our runners are gonna have to play around with that fallen one being cast on them up to 5 times throughout the seed. So we're gonna have to get creative ways to heal ourselves. Another Imperial camp here for Nani Gray.
Another Mossner box for Nani is... Ooh, this is a good one to have with Shock, because basically one Shock takes us down no matter what. Yeah, to be honest with you, this is probably the, the best monster box you want to see, not even some of the other ones. Because it's so much good experience. Another count towards the Cursor Shield, and it's almost no risk because of how weak they are.
Alright, it is Slot Strago, so Gambling Grandpa for our runners tonight. And we still do not have any boss kills, so that is that number next to Ultros. 14 is the goal to get our Kefka Tower skip, so I'm going to be keeping track of how close we are getting to skip, because there is some shenanigans that you can play with, going to get to 11 bosses and then killing the 3 in the middle with your whole party, and then warping out and then back in again with the statues that you can play. So we'll see if any of our runners decide on doing that. But we have some more magic power here on our team, Glue. And we're going to Barren Falls next.
Yeah, that's another good point you brought up there. And I believe you're alluding to the ability to... You don't really have to end up at 14 bosses. If you end up at 11, that's just as good enough anyways. The reason for that being is you can take your final party and put them in a solo lane in Kefka's Tower and have them walk the far right lane, if you will. And they'll be able to take on the ambush spot, which is... Inferno, the Guardian spot, and then the Vanilla Poltergeist statue, whatever that is. That will push you up to 14 bosses. But to go back to a point I made earlier, if you don't have warp stones, you have to walk all the way out, and that's that's the longest walk in the game you can make. And just knowing that you have warp stones in your back pocket, that's always on the table for you, that can allow you to route so much more efficiently throughout the seed.
Alright, so Yakko Wacko first on the board with their Esper there. That's Ramu at Zen Thief. There's also both Earrings and Atlas Armlet there in the Relic Shop in World of Ruin to Zen. So I don't know if we saw that from Nani Gray earlier, or if they just went into the Collapsing House. Tri-Talk was pretty straightforward for Bubba Ski there, because we had both Fire Skeins and Shock and Slots. So not really a problem with that boss there either. Oh boy, let's see how Yakko Wacko decides to do this here.
Yakko should have his Paladin shield at least, so his lock should be in almost no danger.
Until GP Rain starts coming our way.
Yeah, I say that, he'll cast the level 7 Ultima.
Oh god. Unlucky with the Pearl, and yeah, that's a reset there. Don't want to burn a Phoenix down on that fight. I agree with that.
Yep. And that kind of goes back to, you didn't have to walk very far to get to that chest, so it's not as big of a time sink as you think to spend 30 seconds getting back to that chest over from Imperial Camp. And if you don't want to do it now, you just go do it somewhere else.
So that is Ice 3 and Strength +1 and Stop on that Raiden from Barren Falls, so that's a nice one to find. And as I mentioned, we did get Fallen 1 there for Bubba, but he is drinking out of the Phantom Forest pool, so doesn't have to waste his resources on sleeping bags and tents there.
That's pretty bold play just because of how close that body of water is to Doma, and we know what happened to the water, right?
He's a true camper. He did a double charcoal filtration system, I believe. Let's see what this Kieran is. Oh my goodness!
Oh, ooh, hello.
That was Flare and Pearl and Ultima, all on one spell. Whew! I'm feeling some kind of way about that spell. That Esper, rather. Jeez. Alright, Nani Gray's
Did
gonna
Yakko
grab
make
that
it to
too.
his Katana Soul fight?
No, he reset out, so this is...
Oh, he just went up to it again.
No, Katana Soul's in Collapsing House.
Oh, that's right. That's correct. That's correct. I apologize. I apologize. Great heads-up play there by Bubbaski. The second ghost from the right is always the item shop. Sometimes they move really fast and they kind of shuffle each other up, but more often than not, if you go by that assumption, you'll be fine.
I think he actually wants to fight some of these ghosts.
That one doesn't want to fight. He wants to go with him, it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, neither does that one. That one's not going to fight him. There we go.
Look out.
That ghost has a death wish or another death wish.
Yeah, this is a decent fight here for XP and for MP. And since we have Shock, a lot of these early grind fights are not going to be too bad for us here.
That's one thing I like to take advantage of in these flags is that Shock is, again, it's one of the best possibilities you can start with, if not the best. It just kind of tapers off fast, especially on a character like Sabin who's starting with like 26 magic power. And that may be a good thing, you know, depending on what some of his other stats and equipment pool is. That may be the best thing about him, right? So that's good to take advantage of early. It's just going to fall off later on and not be as useful. But while it's, you know, useful now, it's great to take advantage of it and just take the fix the fighters now. It will just make the rest of your seed smoother, so that way you can stay at or ahead of scaling.
Bubba's Lock, learning that warp spell that you mentioned, pretty important for the end of the game here. Yakko is going to get their Esper at the, or not Esper, rather their slot Strago. So I think we've got plenty of checks left to do without even considering Strago checks yet. What would you sort of try to lean into Strago stuff maybe because he's the latest character you got, or would you just still fade it a little bit because it's early on in the seed here?
Oh, never until I had to. Basically, Sabin's worst check is still faster than Strago's best check. So you're almost better off. Like, if that's not a character, that's fine, so be it. There's nothing that says an Esper will or won't be in any of your starting characters checks. It's just less likely to be characters. And that's okay, because we still need 10 Espers, which is a lot. So you might as well do your faster checks now. And then you can just kind of narrow down the longer checks you have to be in. And you never know. Maybe you do one of Strago checks and turns out that's the character.
Right.
And then rather than just doing all the long checks just to do them because it was your latest character, you never had to.
Nani Gray spiking an Atla weapon out of the chest here.
Nice.
I think Bubba's going to get it too. And an elixir as well. That's always nice to see. Remember, we get that 1/8 sellback that you talked about. So our resources and our curative items are going to be very important for us to find and maybe not purchase. Because that elixir, normally we just sell it and it sells for 10,000, but not in this flag set. It's only going to sell for about 2,000 or 3,000.
If you're lucky.
Let's see if we get any Minervas from this fight from either one of our top runners here.
Yeah, each one of these plugs has a 1/8 chance to drop a Minerva, which inherently is not great, but you do get 3 shots out of it. So there's worse things you could try to gamble on in a Worlds Collide seed.
Yeah, so Yakko Wacko, realizing that his characters were all level 10, decided to take off the Moogle Charm and get a grind fight there, just in case. And I don't blame him.
You never know.
Gonna go hit this up here. And then we'll see what's up the South Figaro Cave. This is new for us. Bubbaski, I think, had Muddle on one of his characters, so if he decides to go to Collapsing House at some point, he will have an answer for Katana Soul.
Neither Nani nor Bubbaski got a Minerva for their efforts with those pugs. That's unfortunate, because you think at least one of them would have.
They do give 25 MP, which is pretty good. We'll learn a lot of stuff. Not Ultima yet, though. We're still waiting for that. And
oh no!
Oh boy!
Oh no! This is not what you want to see in a permadeath seed, because not inherently scary, but they do they can kill a character.
Yeah, so these ninjas, if you attack them, will counter with a throw. So, unfortunately, if you hit them with an AoE attack, then you're going to get 2 things thrown at you. So you better actually kill them. So, Bubba learning the hard way, and this might have to be a reset here for him.
This 7 flush actually may take them both down, and that will give him a moment to compose his thoughts. Let's see here.
Yeah, so that's also Stray from Yakko Wacko. So another way to kill Katana Soul if he goes to Imperial Camp, but he is, a Collapsing House, but he instead is going to Mount Cults, and our top runners are giving the Phantom Train a second try. So what would your strategy sort of be here, Glue, if this was you?
Pop quiz for your Swants. Everything that Marshall can have paired with him can be muddled, except for one formation. Do you know what that formation is?
I have no idea.
I think it's the dinosaurs. I think the dinosaurs, the Tyrannosaurs, are the only ones that got me muddled. So, I think you said it was Yakko, but if Yakko has the Esper, there's a good chance one of these 2 fellas has the Esper as well. And if we just got 25 ability points, there was another solution to the problem on somebody's screen, and that Nani figured it out. There you go, Nani. But you can muddle these guys, so that does, in the very rare instance you happen to have Stray, make Stray a very useful summon here.
Yeah, so I think, that is Babaski has Muddle learned. And Yakko Wacko has Stray from South Figaro Cave. Alright, so Marshall getting instant death there is nice, and Flare, it does take a while, but if it's going to do the job, you might as well use it.
Yep. Tip number 2 going much better for both fellas on the screen here. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, 4 HP.
That is very fortuitous. Yeah.
Alright, well, Bubba's going to have to burn yet another Phoenix down. That's, I think, his second that he has to burn. Yeah, he's only got 5. Yep. Now we'll have 4. And remember, you can't get Phoenix downs in shops or in chests. You are stuck, essentially, with permanently losing that Phoenix down, so don't run out.
Yeah, if you can help it, help it. Bubba is gonna go through Burning House, I guess, here.
Yeah, maybe he's thinking, oh, that fight took way longer than it should have. I need some levels. Let's go to Burning House and get some levels here. And speaking of fun, it's Fun Baba for Yakko Wacko at the end of Mount Cults here. So we'll see what this is. This will be new 411 for us, Glue.
This could be a character again. There's nothing in our contractual obligations that says we have to get a character from Strago's check. It's entirely possible we could have fade them all together.
Yeah, so Flare combined with the Shock and the Fire Schemes will take care of it for Nani Gray. Let's see what Mount Cults has.
Ooh. I don't hate it.
I kind of do, because now, well, I guess now you're like, well, I need another character who can use that Valiant Knife there, so who can? It's just Locke for right now. I would have preferred almost anything else, actually. That's not true. I would have not preferred Marvel Shoes, but that's my own personal beef. I
will say that dead checks earlier are better luck than having dead checks later in this flag set.
For sure.
The reason, multiple reasons, but one, if you get a boss, you get experience, you're not pushing up your scaling. 2, you're probably going to just end up at the end of the seed anyways, just doing boss hunts just because. So you might as well do boss now. If you could, ideally you would do bosses now that don't push up your scaling. You're kind of doing it now, and that just kind of sets you up to kind of snowball through the seed, right? Or just kind of begin a little avalanche method. You start off with a little drop. But as your experience flows, that permadeath becomes less punishing. You're able to withstand more attacks. And it just kind of gets you going out and about in the world a little more freely and a little more safer.
Alright, so Ebbett's Rock is the play for Yakko Wacko, and this is not fun in the Burning House here.
No, this is more dangerous than most people realize because of that alone.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm resetting and getting the heck out of here. I know that
Uh,
those fights can give you pretty good experience in MP, but I don't know how many Phoenix Downs I'm going to want to waste in there.
Yeah, the good news, what Bubba really needs to do here is take this fight, get his lock back up, so this gets his lock off that number, which is, I assume, is level 15, right? To get him off of Divisible 5, so that way he's not instant death or whatnot in the next fight after. But it looks like he's not going to do that. This is scary because he's just going to keep gaining levels, and eventually he's going to land on a number 5.
Or he just keeps locked dead until the boss.
Well, no, I'm talking about Leo and Strago, right? Because Duelers and Scott, that fight gives a lot of experience. So he could possibly get 2 or 3 levels from that fight alone. And then if you get one fight from this and then you skip over one, right, and find some more Mage Rotors, eventually you're going to end up, oh, he's level 20. Did you see that?
Oh, no.
He's 20, 15, and 19. That's,
okay.
That's just dangerous. This is going to be the dueler.
Boy.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
Super Ball, you gotta do it, my friend. Okay, Smoke Ball is even smarter, probably.
Definitely.
Okay.
Oh, Flare and Berserk and HP plus 100. So that's heading right to our Valiant Knife user. I didn't even see that on Stray from Yakko Wacko, but that is Nani Gray's 3rd Esper, and Yakko Wacko takes out number 24 at Ebbets Rock. So we'll see what this reward is here for him. Oh, please run away.
Another scary moment for Bubisky. Does he?
Yeah, he's got smoke.
Yeah, he's aware.
Alright, so that's Odin for Yakko Wacko there. So that's his 3rd Esper and 3rd boss, I believe. Oh, hello.
Ooh. No. Back to the shot guy. That's all right.
Well, Strago is also does need plus magic power as well, right? Because he's got slots at the moment. We know that there's Ice 3 in the seed. We know that there's that one Esper with like Pearl and Flare and Ultima on it. So I think we're going to be doing a lot of magic this seed besides our Valiant Knife user here. And this Ifrit Shiva fight is not too terrible because we do have things that can take care of this. And there it goes.
Yeah, that's very fortunate for Bubisky there. It is absolutely backbreaking to go all the way through that burning house. Get to the end and it's a doom gaze or a scary, tough boss you just can't handle. But to get in the Ifrit Shiva there is a pretty good feeling. And it looks like it's going to be a character.
Hi, who is rescuing us?
Celeste, Terra, Edgar. Aww.
It's a Moogle. Well, you know what? I really like Mog in this flag set because of the Kefka Tower skip requiring the Narsh battle. And Mog's Lone Wolf check is literally right there. So this gives me a sort of a 2-for-1 incentive in order to go up there, right? So I'm happy with Mog.
Is that your favorite 2-for-1 special these days?
Yeah, I think so. McDonald's breakfast sandwiches are pretty good. The rest of their food's terrible, but
yeah, there's not a lot of 2-for-1 specials these days anywhere.
I think they're like they're 2-for-1 only if you download their silly app or whatever. Which, fine, I guess I'll download your app and get myself.
Yeah, data mine me.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Alright.
I'd personally let them data mine me for a biscuit, but that's another story for another day.
Alright, Nani Gray with the heads-up game knowledge there, knowing that is an undead enemy, getting her hyper wrist. We'll see if he grabs the Katana Soul there. Remember, I think he knows that there's an offering for sale somewhere. However, it's like 60-something thousand GP, and I have no idea how we're going to sell enough stuff to get it.
Probably Nani's best bet to get 60,000 GP to buy an offering. Katana Soul. Which is kind of one of those things where maybe you can just invest that money in something else, or it's a timeshare.
Well, you were talking about crypto mining before, or data mining?
Yeah.
Right? So there you go. Alright, using the Stray here on Katana Soul, can we get that Slayer Edge? There we go.
Very nice.
One of the nice things about having multi-summon is if Katana Soul doesn't behave in that part of the fight, you can just hit him with the Stray again.
All right, so
17,000 GP. That's still not even close to enough.
yeah. Well,
That's
it's
wild.
1/4 of it's 1/4, and if you can find 100 things to sell for 1/8, then we get one offering.
Well, now we have an offering and a Valiant Knife user, so that's one build at least done. We need to figure out what Strago and Leo are going to do. Probably Ice 2 and Ultima. And
Looks like Bubba's cashing in his ticket to the Mogs checks, and it's just going to go ahead and going straight on up there.
yeah, I'm cool with this. I usually like it better if I have 5 or more characters, because then I could fight a full party against Kefka and Narsh, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, and that is a fixed dice at Collapsing House.
Ooh, nice.
So, I think that's our first runner through it, because everybody else just reset out of it, right?
Yeah. That 17k from Katana Soul is just enough for Nani to buy the Zen Thief anyway, so yeah, 16,584.
Alright, and that is Ramu. So now we just have to see who can use that fixed dice. We'll see how Yakko Lacko deals with the covert martial fight here. So those ninjas will only counter with throwing things at you if you hit them with magical attacks. So that's why you kind of see them not really doing very much with the Valiant Knife. They'll do this instead, which I don't know if that's
just
better
annoying.
or worse.
Yeah. I always forget, like, oh yeah, is this a bad thing? I'm like, no, it's just confusing. It's like, this doesn't do anything. This actually might be helpful. Not in that case right there with that ability, but...
Oh boy, Strago with 2 HP. No, Strago, stay alive.
Who's he gonna charge at?
Leo is down. Leo is down. Yeah, go ahead and burn that Phoenix down. This fight is almost over. Meanwhile, we have another character here, and another great one to see in Narsh. Or another Valiant Knife. There's VKs and offerings all over the seed here, and yikes. Leo goes down again, and this is what I was talking about, Glue, why I don't like wasting Phoenix Downs mid-fight. That is a Sword Tech Natural Magic Terra as well.
Ooh. All the terrors, that is a Terra. Ooh, what a clutch block there from Locke, but time's a ticking.
Oh boy! Alright, so we got through that. Yeah, so now Bubba is hoping to find Cyan somewhere along the way.
Would you consider here, if you were Yakko, going right back into the Phantom Forest and taking on the Phantom Train boss, just for 1, the boss count, and 2, the experience that would come from it this early in the seed?
That's a wild idea that I hadn't even considered, but I like your thinking outside the box. I think we have I think we have X-Zone, right? So it's not even like that boss would be a problem.
I may have passively thought about that, brainstorming a little bit with these flags. The problem is, like, you'd have to have X-Zone. You have to do it early enough where Phantom Train doesn't give that much XP, but he gives like about as much XP as a pretty good, like, phone and caught in it type level fight.
10 MP.
And if you had X-Zone, an easy way to deal with him early in the seed,
And he
right?
drops a tent, I think,
maybe,
too.
yeah.
So 10 MP in a tent is not bad for that either. Yeah, that's.
But it takes
why
like
you are
30 seconds
That's
to
why you're the
get to
Mulu Cup
him.
CEO after all.
Yeah. Not for the financial improprieties either, but that's another. We'll talk to the judge one day.
The money laundering scheme that is the. Alright, burning some warp stones here. Oh no.
Oh no, that's okay. Oh, nothing to worry about there, Fudon. Everything's okay. No point in being afraid of a number. This is kind of awkward for Yakko because he's doing Kefka at Narsh now, but turns out you could have had this gift wrapped to you. Let's see if that comes back and he regrets it later on.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll probably regret it, especially because Terra was the character at the top of Lone Wolf, right? So which also gives you yet another check within the World of Balance Narsh loop with the Welch spot.
What was the other item from, what was it? Force Armor, Valiant Knife?
Yeah,
so that gives you a first Force Armor too as well, which in this flag set is actually very welcoming.
Yep, so it was Force Armor or Valiant Knife at the Narsh Weapon Shop, and it was a Terra or Valiant Knife at Lone Wolf. Alright, Nani Gray, burning a couple of Warp Stones here to get out of those pretty gross fights. And they will get their Mog here at the end. So what haven't we seen? We haven't seen
Moogle
Phoenix
Defense.
Cave? No, I'm saying before we get to Mog.
Oh.
We haven't seen Fanatic's Tower and Phoenix Cave, right? We've seen basically everything else. So this might be a Burning House required seed with these gross encounters in it. And boy, let me tell you about a... No, I'm just kidding.
Tell us in a week.
I'll tell you some other time.
Yeah. Yeah. Really unfortunate that this is one of the fights here, because that's like one of the pros to come into Burning House, right? Is that you're going to walk on all these flames that are really hard to avoid anyway, so at least you're getting some fights you can do. It's really kind of a bummer you have to run away from this huge XP fight just because, you know, even if only it hits one of your characters, well, that's still a Phoenix down you got to waste to get them back up, and it's just kind of, you can't do that all day long. You can only got 6 of them, and they can go fast.
Alright, so that's Unicorn there at Kefka at Narsh, and that is another boss down for Bubbaski. And we'll see if he decides to go to Moogle Fence right away. No, he's going to go ahead and save and get himself back up again.
How often would you say you go down from Kefka at Narsh and just YOLO straight into your Moogle Defense check?
No, I don't do it very often because Moogle Defense is a peekable check, so I like to save peekable checks for later, which is one of my strengths and weaknesses, I think, as a runner. So it's one of those things where if you value information, you might want to just save it for a different time.
Yeah, Bubbaski is actually in a weird spot, where he has 5 characters, only 3 espers, so he needs both. And even if he ends up like 7, one more character more than requirements, that's okay, because that character's, you know, of all the ones, eventually you'll come across characters that have fast checks like Edgar and Shadow and Setzer and whatnot. So it's not a big deal if you end up with 8 characters, because they're still faster checks in the long run. So if I was feeling pretty good about my offense here and pretty safe, I would do this here if I was Bubba. But if I was at more of like a, you know, a spot where I was like, you know, 6 and 9, I receive 1 more of each, then that's kind of the point where I would save and then maybe not fully commit and just go play a little smarter, a little wiser, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. With this check specifically, it's so very front heavy, is the cutscene and all the time you have to wait to get to the actual boss. To me, it's not a very long check, but it is quite a long check, and being able to peek it and just go, no, I don't need to do this, is more valuable than just going ahead and doing it right away. All right, so here comes our Fanatic's Tower peek. And it is not a character. So we either have Burning House or Phoenix Cave as our way through this seed thus far with the information that we have. We do know that Mog is at Burning House. And Mog can use the fixed dice.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, Nani might be a little less inclined to minister Mog like Bubbaski was with that information. What are your thoughts on finding Terra up there at that lone wolf spot in this moment? What would your thoughts on that be, Schwantz?
I'd be happy that I could knock out another check in this area, and you know, there's something to also be said about doing well, then Moogle Defense, and then never going back to Narsh ever again, right? And then there's also the Sealed Gate Cave if you don't have builds yet, which I don't know if we have builds on our team. We kind of have pseudo magic users, and we've got some Valiant Knives flying around, but if there's something interesting in the Imperial base and the treasure chest for the Sealed Gate Cave, that might be a good place to go as well.
Yeah, I think collectively everybody's characters are coming along. Nobody's really, at the point where this is my S tier character. This is my carry. I only want them and only this character to act. Everybody's just kind of piecing together offense. But you do see some visions taking place with that Magic Power +2 Esper, with Ultima on an Esper, and then the Valiant Knife. While we're not there yet, there are some builds in the future that will deal with the
Yeah,
difficult things ahead of us.
I think your Valiant Knife offering build is going to be your MVP. It just takes some time to build it up, right? Because of the fact that physical damage is so dependent upon your levels.
Valiant Knife offering is also a little more risky in this flag set because the permanent. The lower HP, your Leo is or your Locke is, right? If Locke's max HP is 1,000 and you have him hovering around 200, well, that's great. He's going to be doing 4K, a turn. But the bad news is that any AoE that he can't negate with his equipment is essentially going to kill him. And that can only happen so many times before he can't have that happen anymore.
Right. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a really good call about that interaction. Once you're out of Phoenix Downs, there's nothing you can do. Which makes Phoenix a very valuable Esper to find, or Life 3 a very valuable spell to find. That certainly makes that fixed ice that Nani has more appealing as well.
Yeah, it's almost like a Valiant Knife offering light. Its offense or its damage capabilities won't scale quite as well, but it's so much safer because your character can just sit in the back row. They can be at full HP whenever possible. You can hit a healing bucket and then you don't regret it. Just so much safer than a Valiant Knife, but so less promising.
Alright, Esper number 5 there for Nani Gray. Good heads-up play from Bubba, realizing that this undead part of SR Behemoth can be taken down to a third, I think, of his HP with Sword Tech 3. Or is it maybe an eighth? I don't remember, but it only works on the undead bosses, or rather, the bosses that are susceptible to instant death, I should say. Mm-hmm. Crusader is the Esper there, so we're up to 4 now. One of the cool things about having Terra is even if we don't get Cyan for the Sword Tech unlock, we have an Esper that teaches Ultima, and Sword Tech 5 both heals your MP and XP, and MP and HP rather. And there's an Osmos spell on that Esper as well, so we might just be doing Ultima spam for the rest of the game here. Hi, Moogles.
Yeah. You don't get a full Moogle house walkthrough like that. It's cool to see every once in a while. You could have near back there.
Yes.
The sad part of that is you forget how many don't survive till the World of Ruin, but that's, if you have a certain type of sense of humor, I guess.
Well, those are just Moogle suits for me, right? Oh boy.
Bad news for Yakko. Yakko's getting his taste of the experience of the... Oh no.
Wow.
Okay, that's the correct play. Yeah.
Yick. Well, the problem is, I think, unless there's a character in Phoenix Cave, that is how you have to get through the seed here, and that is gross. I need a shower after seeing that. He's going right back, though, so that's good at least. Oh, hey!
Oh, hello.
Alright, so
hello there.
Never mind that even if we don't fight Cyan Talk.
This Dataluma, I don't think Bubbaski is in a position to capitalize, but this is actually a great source of GP. We just don't have the ability to steal. The reason for that is if you steal from Dataluma, he gets cute and steals back some GP from you, and that GP you get back at the end of the fight with your multiplier from the flag. So in this case, it's ×3. He steals 5,000 GP from you. That's cool. You get 15,000 back.
Alright, so there is our Sword Tech Terra for Nani Gray. And come on, Yakko, survive this. Oh boy.
Oh no.
Alright, so we know he's not level 4 or level 5. So at least if he does absolutely no fights. at least if he does no fights, he'll be fine. He's probably a prime number. Level 23, let's go. Alright, so we have 6 characters for Bubba Ski here. Are you going to Dome of Dream now, right away, to upgrade Terra?
Maybe. Here's the thing, if you upgrade Terra right now, you want to call the Sortex. Sortec 8 is going to be useful in a very few circumstances. One of them we already found in the Marshall fight. Sortex 7 is going to be a while before it's useful. So unless he has plans for Sortex 6, well, we already have Shock, right? It's almost the same thing, except one can afflict stop. If you weren't feeling comfortable with your ability to get through a tough fight here, you almost probably want to come back later. Because once it's really, really backbreaking when the first fight is like leader, and then the second fight is Doom Gaze or Magic Master, something you can't get through, because you have to invest quite a bit of time to get to that awful information. So I personally like to do checks like this when I'm well equipped with diverse offense, or defense ignoring damage that can pierce through the guys with the tougher shields.
Alright, Yakko has learned his ice spells by the time we got to this Ifrit fight, so that's not going to be a problem for them. They will get their Mog and continue onward through the linearity of this seed, but he has an advantage with having more Espers than anybody else as of now. Bubba, meanwhile, is going to take on the first of 2 bosses here in Cyan's Dream.
Just a whelp.
I forgot that there's also an Atma weapon floating around too for Nani Gray, so they might have more builds that some of the other runners don't have here.
Well, Bubba has that Atma weapon too. I just don't think he has the offering.
Okay.
Because remember, they got it back to back at the same time, and then ran into their Marshall encounter. Ooh, that Mog did have steel.
Yeah, not as useful in this flag set as, say, the one that we ran in the prior week with the Phantom Forest Railway with the drops being shuffled. Bubba there taking care of that snail. Gonna get another boss for them, and let's see. Ooh. Behemoth suit. I guess that's good for Strago. Can Strago naturally wear that?
He can.
There you go. Okay, maybe that isn't so bad then.
Not bad at all. Yeah, remember, if you come across, a good piece of armor in a shop, if you didn't buy it with your starting 60k GP, you're probably not going to buy it.
No.
You'll probably not be able to afford it. So coming across a few pieces like that is not a bad idea at all. Neither is doing some of the dragons at some point in time, because you'll get force armors and force shields and some other goodies from them just by default.
Alright, we'll see if Nani Gray decides to go get Terra's check and finish off Mog's check here, or what the plan is. It looks like they are going to stick with Mog with that fixed ice in the party instead of Terra with the sword tech, so that's an interesting choice. We'll see if they regret that in about 10 seconds. Alright.
Yeah, I think he was maybe thinking, maybe I go right into this Moogle defense check, but he's thinking against it now and taking down his Mog and taking him out. This will be huge for Yakko because he's about to walk past the offering, and this is going to be his only shot at one, so hopefully he takes advantage of it and peeks some monster boxes.
Yeah, so that's Esper number 7 there at Zen Thief.
Very nice.
He's making a beeline. There we go. Okay.
There we go.
So
maybe he already knows it's here and he knew it was doing all that.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he did. He did have issues the first time in here. All right, so that's a reset out of Nani Gray. There we go. There's our muddle. So we're not doing Moogle defense. See, this is what I would have peaked Moogle defense later. There it is. That's that offering there for Yakko Wacko.
Very nice. Along with a healthy 17k GP. Maybe a little more because this skill should probably be higher.
Hey,
flagsets.
All right, Vargas and Ipu there as the second boss. This shouldn't be too bad of a fight, and then we'll have that sword tech fully upgraded for Terra there. Alright, he is going to keep digging in the monster in the boxes there and going to get this hyper wrist.
Yeah. Oh no, that's not the type of thing you want to send the Engage out to.
Yep.
Alright, there we go.
Alright, so Nani Gray is... Nope. Okay, yes. Is going to check the Welk spot here.
You think Nani's going to go back and get that Force Armor they passed on from earlier?
I would imagine so.
Bubba didn't do it, and I thought they would.
We haven't seen a lot of good armor there. I think we do have a Paladin shield and a red jacket, but other than that, we've got that Behemoth suit now from Dream 1, but Bubba's the only one who has it. And we have a white dress, which is good for our magic user, but if we want them to survive, then the Force Armor is a better call there. Alright, and this will be fixed dice for Yakko Wacko at the end of the collapsing house here. Bubba does take down another boss, and we'll see what the reward is. It's got to be an Esper, right?
Yep. At least one Esper, and then one more possibly on the throne.
Alright, so Strago and Mog can both use the fixed dice. So lots of different fixed dice potential users, and that's one of the things I like to look at with my equipment, because remember, our Kefka Tower statues are shuffled amongst themselves. So you want to have as many powerful builds as possible, and it's okay to shuffle your equipment around in Kefka's Tower to fight those statues, and you might have to do that depending upon how good or bad your luck is with regard to party composition.
That's Ragnarok for Bubba, so that's a 2 Esper, 1 Behemoth suit Dumb Dream. Not the worst Dumb Dream you could ever see, but not the best either.
Yeah, so that's the Force Armor there for Nani Gray, and it looks like the two of them have the same counting stats. I hope that I'm right. Meanwhile, Yakko Wacko heading into Moogle defense first here. Because unfortunately, they already went up to Kefka Norse, as you mentioned, Lou.
Yeah, we were wondering if that would come back to regret it, and come back it has. Petting the Dog by Bubba, you love to see it. The Moogle Cup works. The Moogles come out graduated. They are properly trained, and the program can continue on.
All right, let's see. Little girl says Alexander. So that's an Esper that we could use for sure. And one of the great things about this check, Glue, is that it actually counts as 2 bosses. Humbaba 3 counts as a boss, will blow 2 of your characters away, and then you fight a second boss. So this will be bosses 8 and 9 here for Bubba.
Would you do this here, knowing it was an Esper, or would you kind of store that information away for later?
I would squirrel it away for later. It's not very difficult to just walk back in here.
Yeah, this can be a little risky at this point in the seed, because we're at that awkward spot where eventually we're gonna come to a point where nothing's gonna stand in our way, where our party is whole. But we're not quite there yet, so our party's gonna get split down to 2 members, and if we get the wrong 2 members against the wrong boss, this can be a little annoying very fast.
Yeah, we do have Sword Tech 7, and we have Shock, and we, I think, have Ultima maybe learned by now, hopefully? Question mark? So, who knows? We'll see. But, again, like you mentioned, if we're stuck with, let's say, Leo and Strago, are we in good shape or not?
Yeah, we'll find out.
Alright, so here comes Odin summon for Yakko Wacko to try and get rid of this phase of SR Behemoth, and now we're actually going to try to get that instant death proc with those fight commands.
Right.
But he's going to go ahead and take that out anyway for that other Esper here. Crusader up to 8 Espers there. And, oh, geez, look at this fight for Bubba. Not what you want to see with only 2
No,
party
not at all.
members.
I think he cast haste on himself.
Really good
Just to
heads-up
kind of,
play.
yeah. Well, it won't prevent the slow from the swing attack. It will, however, replace it with the haste, and I have to start the process over again. Actually, does he have marble shoes on? Is that why he has regain and haste?
I
And
guess
you
so.
always knock on him for wearing the marble shoes. You always knock against him.
I do not like the marble shoes, but they are useful in this particular instance for sure. Because, yeah, he's getting regen numbers as well as the haste, so he must have marble shoes. Those pumped up kicks, if you will. Alright, so here comes the X-Zone try for Nani Gray, and unfortunately Yakko is doing the walk of shame here out of the mogul mine.
Yeah, that's alright. He has an Esper nobody else will have, and that's really all you can hope for in throughout a seed is to get the Crusader Esper and, you know, go out in style when you take down Final Kefka with Crusader.
Alright, so we're at 6 and 7 for our top runners, and 4 and 8 for Yakko Wacko, about to get Terra, and then we'll get Cyan, but we still need a 7th character. Where do we think that's going to be?
It is a little interesting because we're at the same number of bosses for just about everybody. We're off by 1. But our progression has, you know, kind of tilted one way for one runner as opposed to the others. But so it's been pretty neck and neck, right? If you're taking 8 bosses, it doesn't really matter if the other guy's taking 8 different bosses. You're committed about the same effort and time through the seed. You just happen to go somewhere else than what you did. So pretty similar pace all around so far from everybody. Nobody's really separated themselves from each other yet.
Alright, Bubba's showing some game knowledge there, talking to the innkeeper during this cutscene, getting a full heal. And we'll also get their offering here, I'm assuming. There it is, pulling out the muddle. We're definitely going to get Terra here for Yakko. And they already did Kefka at Narsh, so they could just walk back down to Welk and get Cyan.
That is true.
So this will be a much quicker Cyan than our other 2 runners. Nani Gray here, heading to the sealed gate cave. Did not loot Imperial base, as far as I could tell.
He did not. Great resistance to discipline not to do it, because at the 1 hour mark, there's really nothing there for you that you should be grabbing anyways, or you should need. Hopefully, unless things have gone really, really south for you.
Yeah, it's just so loot dense. There's just so many chests there.
So this is kind of an interesting point for 90 Gray, where things can kind of come together in a nice way. If this isn't a character or Esper, we will need 3 more pieces of progression to get our requirements. We will also just need 3 more bosses to end up at 11, and 11's a nice magic number because we need 14 per skip. So we can then proceed to do a full right clear with our full requirements, fight the 3 bosses we would have had to fight anyways if we walk the tower as is, and then get our skip and just warp out. So things are coming together a little nicely here for Nani.
Oh, hello.
Yeah,
There's
the
our
good
7th
news
character.
is, yeah, we probably don't have to do Gogo's check, which is not a boss, but we do have some other checks that are bosses we can make our way to, and hopefully get our progressions 3 Espers that way.
Yeah, so I don't think they've done any of Cyan's checks. We know that there are 2 Espers in Dream. Dome of Siege is a quick peek. Right? And that's where you could get your 3 bosses from.
Yep. 2 Espers and a Behemoth suit for 2 bosses in Dome of Dream, and then Dome of Siege, possibly Wall to balance Sozo with one of Terra's check. Nani's going back now and doing it. 4 Summer in the first Hero Ring.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
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 Whose closet are we raiding here? No, this is supposed
Right.
to be for the fashion show. Put this stuff back.
That's a pretty impressive treasure room, despite there
One
not being,
Genji
you know,
armor, 2 Force armors,
yeah.
an Aegis shield, a gold helmet. Just like, this is where, clearly, if you have problems with figuring out what to wear, that's where you need to go.
And not to be outdone, that gauntlet's kind of low-key huge if we find the Lumina Ragnarok.
Yeah, we got nothing to use it with right now. I mean, you could use it with a Valiant Knife, but it's not really great.
No, it's not designed for those fashion choices do not blend, if you will.
Alright. Yakko Wacko taking down Daddy Luma. And gonna pick up their Cyan. So all of a sudden, 2 more characters and they are back within striking distance, like we said.
And there is always a small chance he can go straight to Imperial Camp because the temptation of the treasure room is real. And we know the treasure room is very giving in this case.
Yeah, I'm with you. I might have just skipped right over it, but then, you know, you'd be paying the price later. Alright, so Naughty Gray is going to be done with this in about 4 to 5 minutes, and they will be at 9 Espers and 10 bosses. Bubba here going to Mount Zozo. Potential dragon action incoming. And we'll see where Yakko Wacko decides to go. He only needs 2 more Espers and 2 more bosses to get to those magic numbers of Go Mode, and then 11 bosses for a full center clear. But the call of the Sealed Gate Cave is too tempting. However, this will get them their 7th character, so it's not a bad thing here.
No, not at all. That will give kind of, you know, Yakko and Naughty Gray kind of a heads up. Slight advantage over Bubba's There's a few other spots a character could be that we're not aware of. But if you have to go to Sealed Gate to get that go-go, it could be a while before Bubba makes his way there, because again, there's no boss there.
Right.
So it may not cross his mind to his detriment. But you know what? As I say that, I realize what we're doing now. We're doing, you know, Mount Zozo, which doesn't have a boss in heaven either way. So maybe he's not super closed off to the idea of doing checks without bosses at this point in time.
Oh no, Yakko, don't fly away. Oh, he's flying away.
Oh no, Yakko, come on, go back in, go back in.
He just wanted the sweet, sweet loot. I mean, to be fair, he just got Terra, and Terra has so many different checks now. Yeah. Right, so.
Plus his Cyan now, so. The good news is he's going to be at 10 Espers when he finishes this not very difficult dream. The bad news is, based on my thought process, that's Returners is probably the last place I would go now, so.
Sealed Gate Cave?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah, because yes, the Leet River would be the last place I would want to go right now.
Well, it's almost the principle of the matter, right? It's almost like when you warp Nope out of doing Ancient Castle, and then 30 minutes later, it turns out you have to do Ancient Castle all along. I may not even go down there just for the principle of the matter.
Yeah. Alright, let's see what this dragon drop is. It is yet another Force Armor. That's like the 7th we've had this seed. Not an exaggeration.
What do we think is going to be here for Bubba? And
ooh, it's okay.
Yeah, Yakko was a genius all along.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, Mount Zozo is also another check that doesn't have a boss on it. So that's also one that you normally wouldn't just go to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the problem with falling behind in the character lineage early, is that you then have to make sure you hit the right checks to catch up, and there's so many different options available now. Natural Magic, X Magic Realm. Oh, I don't know about that. Coming in for Strago. I tend not to replace characters this late in the seed, because now I have to teach Realm all those spells that Strago already has.
Mm-hmm. The good news is he needs 3 more Espers, so he's gonna do at least 3 more 3 more checks, so he'll have an opportunity to get some spells on that.
Right.
But that temptation is real, especially if you can get Ultima on Realm with that X magic, and she has enough MP to fire it off twice. That's essentially 20k a turn you can do on some of the difficult statue fights.
Oh,
And
yes.
if you can turn around and X-Ether or Elixir her, that's, you know, them down in 2 turns.
Alright, so 3 more Espers for Bubba. At this point, I would be concentrating on my Esper item checks. So, and peekable checks. So things like, well, he already did Mobiles, so not that. Fanatic's Tower, we saw was an imp at the bottom of it. Not a great option, but an option. Esper Mountain is a peekable check. And there's also this here, Owser's Mansion, has the auction house basically stapled to it. However, coming up with the cash for the auction house is going to be a difficult, tall order.
It's gonna be gonna have to almost borrow it from a lender.
Steal some of Hauser's paintings and then sell them in the black market art world.
I don't understand the logic of this, where all these people get their money, but I don't think there's a bank in Jador, at least not one you can get access to. So I find it hard to believe this is the richest town in the world when they don't even have a place to safely store their money.
Maybe now that we have Realm in the party, we could ask her to do some high-quality forges.
A little counterfeit money, I see where your head's at, but that's a town up north, pal. That's where you want to take.
I meant counterfeit paintings, but yes, counterfeit money could also work too.
I see what you mean there. This is a little precarious though, because Realm is not guaranteed, but there's a good chance Realm has a character behind her. So to immediately dive into one's Realm's checks. It's not the most logical routing, I think, at this point in time, but it does have a boss. It is close, so it is defensible. So that's why I kind of don't want to harp on it too much for Bubba Key's stake, but we do have access to quicker checks as well.
Yeah, this is definitely proximity-based routing more than check attribute-based routing, right? So, and maybe this is, I need some more levels, and Hauser's Mansion gives me levels too. Because
that is true.
The maximum scaling, as you see, is 45, so the statue bosses in Kefka's Tower are going to be level 45, more or less. So we're going to need to be at least, towards level 40 when taking on those fights. Otherwise, it's just a slog to get through.
Another point I just considered is that since he did switch out that realm, this is an opportunity at more ability points, and if he's trying to get Ultima on her, for example, you really need all the ones you can get. Or ideally, you would walk out of here with like 50 ability points on her, and then you just go south to the dragon, and that's your Ultima right there, and then you round out your requirements and the rest of her spells.
Alright, so that is Esper number 9 for Nani Gray. This will be 10 here eventually for Yakko Wacko with 11 bosses. So, Glue, we know that he has to go to either Mount Zozo or Sealed Gate Cave to get his next character. Because everything else we've seen, all of Saban's checks, all of Mog's checks, all of Strago's checks. We're missing Phoenix Cave and Zozo Tower and Leet River, I think? Right? Mm-hmm. So, not a lot of options left out there.
If he plays into his Peekable, though, he can kind of round it down just a little bit with his Doma Siege and with his Fanatic's Tower, eliminate those off the board.
Alright,
kind of get back on the right path.
We have Guardian here at Hauser's Mansion, and it's a soldier sprite paint, or ghost sprite with the paint, so this is not an Esper. Or rather, not a character here for Bubba, at least. Alright, so for Yakko Wacko, here comes another peek at Mobliz. Gonna be disappointed with Alexander.
Yeah. On his way out, do you think Yakko's gonna pet the dogs, or do we need to ban him from the community?
Oh, I don't know. If you don't do the check, do you have to pet the dogs?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Alright,
then consider me ostracized. Okay, he's not.
Alright, well, I'll find his username and select that ban button. No, I'm just kidding. Yakko is a cool dude. We like him. We like having him around. We'll let this slide, but just this once.
Alright, that's 11th boss for Nani Gray. Is it an Esper? Yes!
Yes.
Alright, so our first runner into go mode, and oh no, that is a Grand Train from
Ooh, that's
Guardian. Oh boy.
that is a grand train if you ever saw one. He's just gonna nope out of this. Don't blame him. That's two Phoenix Downs plus probably more coming. Cut your losses now.
Yep.
Hey, do you know what you can steal from a Guardian, by the way?
I think you could also steal a Force Armor.
Oh, that is true. Yeah. So if we wanted access to it, that wouldn't be that bad of an idea because 1/8 of 30K is well, it's still not great, but
No, it's
if you have 1/8 of 8 of them though, eventually adds up to something.
Alright, so that is unfortunately going to be Esper number 11, I think. I hope I'm doing my tracking right.
For Yakko.
Yeah.
Ooh, but it's another magic power +2, so you can't complain too much.
Okay, I'm counting, and that might have been 10 actually. Our runner's menu so quick that it sometimes is impossible to tell. Alright, so Nani Gray going to fight this Opera House Dragon here, looking for some more levels or perhaps learning another spell. I like this play because this, basically when you get to 7 and 10, your Kefka Tower bosses are at level 42, and the dragon puts you to 45, but then any other dragons or checks that you do are going to keep you at 45 because that's the maximum scaling after all. You will gain about 2 levels for a dragon here at this high of levels and scaling. So oh boy.
Oh no. That's
This is elemental ability scaling right here, folks.
Yeah.
Or rather, random
Nani.
ability scaling. Sorry.
Nani might be able. Oh no, it's not too bad. Ooh, just enough.
Oh, clutch block there as well. Come on, Locke, finish him off. Another clutch block.
Very nice.
Oh. Just a flame shield there for Bubba. And Yakko Wacko picked up a Genji glove out of a pot here in Zozo Tower. Now, you can choose to not fight this boss with YMPC. Is that our Ultima?
That is what you think it is,
no.
Nani. Oh no,
no,
Nani.
that is not our Ultima. So yeah, this is when the bosses start getting mean around max scaling. That's when especially with the random ability scaling, right, that we mentioned, it causes a lot of non-elemental spells to come out. So, and there's not much you can do to defend against yourself there.
No, you cannot. Really, just any Ultima from anything is gonna hurt like a you know what. So, fortunately, nothing you can do about it.
So you can actually YMPC remove the boss at the top of Zozo Tower and get the reward behind it for Terra, but I think Yakko is looking at his boss count and he might be wanting to just jump right into the tower once he gets his skip. Versus what Nani is doing, which is heading into the tower now. Gonna overload the party number 3 and then run the full middle and get the skip by the time you get to the top of the poltergeist spot. Oh no! Another dead check flame shield. So that's the second one. Having an elemental shield though is never really a bad thing, especially like we mentioned. Those Kefka Tower statues, you're gonna need some sort of protection from them.
Yeah, with Stuffle statues, don't be afraid, just in general, to shuffle a Paladin shield around, shuffle an Offering Atma around against all the ones that can use it. Because ideally you'd want that on every character all the time, right? But it really doesn't matter. You just need, 1 or 2 characters to get through a final Kefka fight. And then with shuffle statues and those type of flag sets, you just want to get to the final fight some way, somehow, and then go from there. And shuffling that around just increases your ability to do so.
Alright, so Yakko Wacko looking for some warp stones, I think, because he wanted to go to Mount Zozo, but then said, I can't get back out. I wonder if he learned that spell or not, or maybe he's got to look around to put an Esper on. Well, he's going to go here anyway, and that'll be great because that'll be his go mode
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, he'll be his go mode, and then he'll need one more boss for his skip mode. And actually, he was gonna find Realm up here, right?
Right.
Realm has a very, very fast check just in the other world, so within 2 minutes when he walks out of here, he could have his skip and his go mode.
Alright, so this is Doma Siege for Bubba. This was an Esper that we saw from Nani Gray. And the first boss of Kefka Tower, pretty easy, Ultra Swan, not a big deal. Narappa is going to get cleaved up, so this is also basically a free Esper for Bubbaski there. And that'll put them either one away or on number 10. I'm trying to track 3 things at the same time and commentate, so I might have missed the counter there. And unlike a normal stream race, I can't just go look at their tracker on their stream. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, good news for Bubba. One more Esper. Some way, somehow. It's got to be out there somewhere, we know for sure, because...
Okay, so it did say unlock final Kefka complete, so I must have miscounted somewhere. That is number 10 for him. I hope I counted the bosses correctly for them as well.
Is he going to nope in the Magitech Factory? Nope. He is not going to nope in the Magitech Factory.
No, we're going right into the tower. Okay, so Nani Gray is going to take a dragon, but inside of KT instead of the Dirt Dragon, and this one is much easier.
What is your least favorite dragon to fight Schwantz?
That's a great question. I don't like the blue Durgan. Very powerful AoE water spells, and if you have a flame shield on, water damage actually does twice as much as normal. So that flame shield that we've found in a couple of dead checks is actually detrimental if you find the blue dragon. And you don't have a lot of water protection in Worlds Collide in general anyway.
Well, I was going to typically say that Gold Dragon is my least favorite, but in this particular flag set, with that shuffled abilities, the White Dragon is particularly annoying because Pearl and Scarbeam are shuffled into... They can be shuffled into anything. They can be shuffled into Flare Star. They can turn into a Grand Train, and they have 2 Grand Trains come at you twice at the beginning of a fight with permadeath. Really makes you question some life choices.
That was Ragnarok the Sword as the drop from that dragon there, and Yakko Wacko warping out there with Go mode. Just needs one more boss defeated in order to get that skip. So we'll see what they decide to do here. Bubba has his KT unlocked, going to pick up some more stuff there at Albrook. And we'll see what their plan is. It looks like, just as you mentioned, Glue, there's a very fast boss check right here. So let's go do it and get our skip.
No Magimaster this seed, but at least so far we still have 2 more bosses with the Guardian spot. The Guardian. Let me finish. The Guardian spot and this Esper Mountain spot for Yakko.
Yeah, so it looks like Bubba's levels are in the high 30s and one is even level 40. But that was an offering in KT as well. How high?
Oh no, Yakko.
I mean,
maybe this was on purpose.
Oh, he's got Genji Glove, Valiant Knight. Oh, boy.
I was not familiar with the game, sir.
Nice.
Again.
Really nice heads-up play, playing around with the Fallen One mechanic with that Valiant Knife Genji Glove offering there. Yeah, so his lock is going to be an absolute monster if he plays it fast and loose here. Oh, it's a Valiant Knife, but that's okay. Because he doesn't care what the reward is. He wanted that for skip. So he's got his skip now with 14 bosses. He is only level 37, however. So it'll be interesting to see how he fares against our other 2 runners, who are also about at the same level. However, they are going to be sending their full party against some of these bosses here, Glue.
That's all right though, because if Nani, or excuse me, if Yakko goes that route, he's obviously clearly behind where Bubba and Nani are in their process of walking their way through Kefka's tower. So Yakko hopefully employs the no risk it, no biscuit strategy here, and just takes his skip right up to the statues and actually leaps ahead of them. And looks like he's gonna do it. He's going to the statues. He's saying, "I have a date with destiny, and it's time to cash in." Oh no! There we go.
All right.
Yeah. It may not work out for Yakko, but I love to see the aggression personally.
So this will show you the power of the Kefka Tower skip, right? Yakko was the last person to get their... oh no, I'm sorry. Bubba was the last person to get unlocked. But they are at the same exact spot that Nani Gray is now. So that is the power of the skip, folks. Yeah, so he's got Valiant Knife offering, he's got Fixed Dice offering, so we'll see how he gets on with the rest of the fights in this seed. We got one more boss besides our statue bosses, and we'll see exactly what it is here in just a second.
And this is where, when you make a play like this is where like having that Paladin shield allows you to do so, because you can shuffle it around to all of your characters and make them almost invincible, say for defensive piercing attacks.
This is a rough fight.
It is, but oh no, that healing is going to do away that fortunate dice roll too.
Yeah, so the Three Stooges normally are the main three elements, fire, ice, and lightning. However, with the ability scaling set to random, they may throw out some wild stuff there, like that meteor spell and this water spell here. So it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, it's particularly rough because it kind of falls under that Pearl Dragon quip from earlier, in that anytime you damage these guys, they have a decent chance to do an AoE magnet attack back at you. And most of the time that's Bolt 2 or whatever, and it's not typically scary, but when it's Wombat instead of Gigabolt, that's a little scarier.
Yeah, Nani Gray unfortunately has two of his main party asleep on the job there, so gonna have to waste at least 2 Phoenix Downs. I don't know, I don't remember if they have wasted any of them yet. No, they still have 6, so that'll be 2 of them down. And here comes the Grand Train. Everybody, come on, take a ride. Oh.
Ooh, what a play.
That was the last hurrah of the Stooges.
Yeah.
So both Yakko and Nani Gray getting through that first one here. Bubba deciding to take on this Ice Dragon as well. We'll get that Ragnarok drop from it. So that'll be helpful for their build, maybe, for Terra.
Definitely. Fortunate thing for Yakko that is gonna not get a lot of attention is that his Mog survived that fight. So that's huge. Now we're making it up to the statue fight with the ability of having another meat shield. Well, assuming these Deep Eyes and the other guys don't take him out as well. But making him up there with another body, warm body in the party is huge, because that's just another thing. That's like a hyperdrive that could potentially target Luck of Realm, but now there's another target for it, right?
So, Nani Gray using Sword Tech 6 here against Poltergeist. Sword Tech 6 has a chance to proc Stop, which is one of the weaknesses of Spicy Chicken. And that opening W win can be a bit scary as well. So now we just need to use Sword Tech 5 and some other healing spells for most of the party. This actually helps out.
And it comes out. That's huge. Well, not necessarily huge, but that's just part of the fortunateness of Mog making through that first fight, is now he's there to get a hyperdrive, because that's a dead realm lock if it hits them.
Yeah, so Yakko, knowing the Stop spell, will end up to using that on Spicy Chicken. BK offering, putting in huge work for both of our party members here. And Bio is the weakness of Spicy Chicken, believe it or not, so a couple of those gas will do pretty well.
Yeah,
so our party was definitely prepared for this here.
Yeah, and that's those 8 swings will put a bow on this very nicely. Even though Yanni has his full party and Yakko just has his Lock and Terror, they still made through those fights in just about the same amount of time. Yakko just didn't have the Moogle Charm on, so he had go through a fixed encounter. But other than that, they're neck and neck.
All right, so that was boss number 14 for Nani Gray. So they are warping out of the tower, and they will be warping back in to take on the last of the two bosses with 2 party members apiece, as opposed to what Yakko Wacko is doing. Is going to 1v1 some statue bosses here. So this is where I think the seed is won and lost from these 2 runners. If Yakko can make it through here with just 1 party member, that will certainly help him out very much so.
Yeah, because his alternative, remember, if he had followed the same path Nani does, he just takes a full right party, walk through the statue. He's probably not even to the switches yet by now, or at least not fully with all of his party members. Maybe he has some of them walked up there. But this was his avenue to catch Nani, and his regression is paying off so far.
Alright, so it looks like Bubba is taking on the second dragon here in the tower.
I think Yakko's not a believer in Moogle charms anymore, and he's just wait the furniture arrange himself sometime.
Is he a multiple of 5? Oh no, it doesn't matter, because Doomgaze can't be here.
Yeah. A little more XP never hurt anybody. That's a maneuver for terrorists somehow from
yeah, that's one of the dragons. Nicely done. Alright, so who's on what side here? Oh, Yakko, you're killing me.
See, you joke now,
Oh boy.
but what if his extra XP is how he gets through this fight?
Yeah, well, we were talking about the level disparity, right? And this might help it out here. Alright, so Locke is not doing a heck of a lot of damage now at full HP. So, I don't know about you, Drinks Blue, but what I like to do sometimes is I like to use my meat shield to just use the fight command against my Valiant Knife user just to get them even further down in HP so they'll do a little more damage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Oh no. Oh no, Yakko. Okay, that's...
Oh no, I saw the media of... We're watching 2 different fights and having the same clenching moments. It's not good.
Yeah, I think is Nani Gray is their lock in the back row?
It looks like it, yes.
Oh, it's probably from the Mobliz. Oh no.
Terra goes down
Bad
there
news.
from that Merton. And
Yeah, bad news for Nani, great news for Yakko.
Locke is still doing so much damage here because they're at full HP. Or rather, so little damage. So do we reset here or do we keep going? That is the question. As Bubba Ski has one of his 3 Stooges unfortunately revived. Oh, there goes Strago's health. Yeah, so as far as the tracker goes, gold is the goal and white is the count. Oh, there we go. That's more like it. Throw the wombat at me. Let me do more damage to you. Thank you, goddess, for obliging. See you later.
Yep.
You tried to kill me, but you only made me stronger. Unfortunately, that means Terra is not going to get any XP from that fight, but I think Nani still has 4 Phoenix Downs left in his inventory. And unfortunately for Bubba, we got Locke, who's petrified.
Mm-hmm.
And
The good news is that Petrify doesn't require Phoenix Down, it just requires a soft to get through it.
yeah,
Recover from it.
yeah, we are doing the 3 Stooges the long way here. Oh, here comes another Delta hit.
Oh no, and those timers are getting a little low. We're starting into the 4th quarter here, and
Sun's going down.
Yeah.
Thankfully, though, Petrify does freeze your timer. I guess that's the one good thing about that. Yeah, so after... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Speaking of low timers, Yakko is also finding out the hard way that that timer can creep up on you fast if you can't take down a statue fight in time.
Yeah, so this is the second phase of the Doom fight, and unfortunately Strago's spells that he's been using will get reflected off of Doom now, so we're going to have to figure out another way to damage this boss here. so
this will be
so
Nani
Mob,
Gray's Doom fight. I'm sorry, go ahead, Schwantz.
no, I was gonna say Mob Stacks asking what are we watching. So this is Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. It's a Final Fantasy VI, or maybe if you're in the US, Final Fantasy III randomizer, where the runners are racing against one another. They're all playing the same version of the random seed, and the goal is to kill Final Kefka. And we are in Kefka's tower at the moment, trying to kill off the last of the bosses here in order to make it towards our final goal. Alright, so Yakko playing around here with the condemned counter. Remember I mentioned, if you pick your party member back up, their condemned counter goes away. So he purposefully, I think, let Leo's die, and then revived him with Strago, and then revived Strago with Leo. So nice heads-up play to sort of manipulate the condemned time to do it.
Yeah, most definitely, because you lose all that damage done, you lose all that time, and then your timer comes back anyways, so might as well do the full send now.
Alright, so Ultima coming out for Nani Gray here against Doom, and that offering will bypass the second phase image status, and that is the first Doom death of the seed, although Yakko Wacko just right behind him there, finally getting through that fight, although it took a couple of Phoenix downs, and there's Poltergeist down for Bubba, so that's his 14th boss as well.
Yeah, Bubba can now warp out of the tower and re-enter and take care of his last two bosses very quickly. Yakko has one more boss, but again, it will be a 1v1 fight, and Nani Gray will now step on the switches and trigger their final Kefka encounter.
Yeah, so let's talk about the final Kefka battle. What do we have and what don't we have? We know we have, for a lot of our runners, we have instant death. We also have... do we have calmness protection? I don't think we've seen
we have
it.
force armors. I know that much, so...
That's not really going to help with calmness protection. I mean, it does a little bit, right? Doesn't give physical evade?
No, actually, does force armor... I think it gives you a little bit of physical for it. I think it gives you like 10.
Yeah, okay, that's not good enough. We haven't just seen Phoenix, which is the Life 3 summon, and we haven't seen Life 3 either, so calmness might be a problem. And I don't know if we have mute or not.
I don't think we have... I think we do have mute, but obviously just from Yakko's... Yakko really doesn't like the Moogle Charm, I tell you what. But just seeing from Yakko shuffle some Espers around, Yakko does not have access to any of the calmness Espers that you want to see for calmness. And if he doesn't have them, that means everybody else probably doesn't have them either, so...
Alright, here we go. Tier 1 for Nani Gray. Let's see what we got. We do have Break and Doom, and there's Mute. Okay. So we have Tiers 1 and 2 figured out. We gotta hold on and hope and pray for Tier 3.
Yeah. A little tactical mistake here from Yakko. If you put your characters at different spots from a horizontal standpoint in the party formation screen, they will be on split spots in a fight like this, Ultros 2 or the Goddess fight. And what Goddess does a lot of AoE attacks that are really debilitating. But the fortunate part is that if you have one person on the left side of her, one person on the right side of her, some of those attacks won't target both sides, but if they're both on the same side, some of those attacks will now.
Yeah, Lullaby especially is really bad. Here comes Wombat! Oh boy.
Ooh, no.
So what are we gonna do here? Last Phoenix down for Yakko Wacko.
Well, we can't take him with us into a new game plus, so we might as well.
Ooh, and Bubba, unfortunately, 2 of his 3 party members are frozen. So the only way to unfreeze is to hit your own party with fire. Meanwhile, out comes Ultima for Nani Gray here on tier number 1. So that's double quad 9s there.
What do you think could potentially slip up Nani Gray here and allow the door to open for Yakko or Bubba to catch him here?
I think losing his 2 best characters with calmness in tier 3, and there's unfortunately not a lot that he can do about that. That's just unlucky.
Yeah, that's also backbreaking because he'll have to go through tier 1 and tier 2 to get all the way up to that bad news with what may or may not happen with that calmness. So that could definitely be backbreaking indeed.
Oh. So Goddess ended up using Merton as a counter, because remember, we have random ability scaling, and it ended up killing herself with it. So thanks very much, Goddess. Appreciate that. We'll see you next time. So that means Yakko will be stepping up to the plate very soon here for Final Kefka. And they have no Phoenix Downs. So that's something to keep in mind. If one of their party members dies on the final fight, they are gone for good.
Yeah, but that's tomorrow's problem, in my opinion. Yakko's got this. I'm a firm believer in the Yakko. I've never been so sure of anything in my life.
Alright, Mute coming out, Sword Tech 8 coming out, so we've just nullified 2 parts of Tier 2 here. We just are left with Tiger, who's weak to Ice, and Hit, who is not dangerous until he death counters with 10 hits.
Yeah, Nani hasn't really had much resistance so far through this Final Kefka fight, but that doesn't mean they're out of the woods, because that timer will get kind of low on this tier just because there's the most parts that you have to take down to progress through. So this is most likely the tier where Condemn will really come and catch up and sneak up on you.
Yeah, I'm also not seeing as much damage output as we are with Yakko potentially, right? We have Locke in the wrong row there for using Valiant Knife. Leo, I think, has Atma Weapon offering, but is choosing to cast Magic here. And, oh, there's 2 of the 4 down. And I don't think he's got any fire, so he's stuck waiting it out on the 2 of them. That is really unfortunate. Okay,
Definitely.
maybe I was wrong, Drinks Glue. Maybe this is where the tide starts to turn.
Yeah, Tier 2 has been known to throw a run or 2 on some runners, and what we could be seeing here. Yakko does have, his lock is essentially, taking names and chewing bubblegum, right? But the problem with that is that on tiers 1 and 2, you kind of want to slow the brakes down a little bit, because the order of operations is important in the parts that you kill these pieces of these tiers. And in tier 1 and 2, that's where it's most important. And then just firing away, 40,000 damage worth of Atma swings or Valiant Knife swings in one turn can kind of come back to bite you if they hit the wrong spots.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes, because, again, this is basically the armor check tier of Final Kefka, and all of his characters are in the front row. He is just not being apologetic about being all up in your face.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, no. We've got a Valiant Knife zombie on Nani Gray's side.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh,
well, now we're thankful they're in the back row at least.
That's still a lot of damage.
Oh no.
Because he's got 0 HP.
Yeah. He better hurry though, because if he captures him now, at least he doesn't have to use a Phoenix down. At least until the Condemned kind of runs out.
Boy. This is... Okay, now, now Locke is doing a heck of a lot more damage, but his Condemned counter is down. His other 2 party members are frozen. Thankfully, we still have 3 Phoenix Downs, and by the way, Bubbaski is now entering Final Kefka too.
Very nice.
So, we got a race, folks. We have 3 of our runners on Final Kefka at the same time.
Yeah. The first 100 minutes were enough to settle this, and we're going to take at least 10 more. Figure out who is the winner here. Oh no, that's another Condemned counter.
Yeah.
It catches up to you on tier 2 more often than not, so...
Yeah, there's just so many moving parts to kill. And speaking
of
killing, there goes Locke for Bubba, but he still has 3 Phoenix Downs left to go. Yakko Wacko on tier 2 now. Remember, we do have Mute and we do have Sword Tech 8, so this tier, well, I was going to say, is usually not that big of a deal, but with Condemned and with lack of targetable offense, we can see last Phoenix Down being used here by Nani Gray, and Leo only has 6 seconds to live.
6 seconds to live or 6 seconds to figure it out?
Oh boy. Okay, here comes 10 hits.
Oh no, Locke isn't critical though.
Oh, the Zephyr Cape!
Oh no, Locke!
The cape! Oh boy.
This is
I don't like this at all. Alright, so here comes the Phoenix down. So now Nani is kind of out of the woodwork in terms of worrying about his characters dying, unless Leo... Oh, come on. Okay, there's the death counter, so Leo is going to make it onto tier 3. Oh my goodness.
This is also kind of where things are getting very interesting because Nani has no more do-overs. This is it. And that's really risky when you're depending on a Valiant Knife user to circumvent the most dangerous part of tier 3, which is going to be the Medio tier, or Medio phase.
And Yakko Wacko, look at that.
Yeah.
That was 5k each swing, 8 swings. Yeah. That is 40,000 damage to tier 2 right there. As we now have Bubbaski also on tier 2 as well. So all of our runners still neck and neck with one another here.
Do you think Yakko's just going to go ahead and one-shot tier 3 and call it a day?
Well, the problem is, if he loses Lock to Calmness, then that will be devastating for tier 4. It will certainly help him catch up, because he needs time, right? More than anything. Alright, so Nani Gray, using that Ragnarok that he got from the Dragon Drop, and getting the Flare proc really nice here to start off tier 3. And that's that done. Healing up his team as well. Unfortunately, Bubba also getting frozen.
That's alright. His Leo is the only one who matters at the moment.
Alright, so here comes the Valiant Knife offering from Nani, doing about 12,000 damage a swing.
It's going to be doing a little less now because Nani's going to try it a little lightly.
Yeah, I'm okay with playing it safe because remember, like, we don't have Calmness protection, so you don't want to lose people to Medio and Calmness, right? So there's a quad 9s from the Ultima. Oh boy, very nice. Yakko Wacko, here comes his lock. And only about 3k per swing here, so 3k times 8 is about 24,000 damage. At least Girl is now dead. Train, not good.
Not good at all. Nani doesn't have time to fool around here. He's got to make some. They got to make some business decisions here. Ooh, Yakko's Leo just survives. Ooh.
Oh no, Strago goes down. And Terra blocks the Calmness. Okay. I think out of all of the 3 characters there, Strago was probably the best one to go down. Remember, he just casted Ultima, so he's essentially out of MP, right? So he's done being useful in this fight.
That Whirlwind could potentially be huge for Yakko. If it hits a lock, and it does. That's a recipe for one-turn Final Kefka.
Alright, so Yakko is going to go ahead and blitz down Sleep here now. We have to see who will get hit with Calmness, because that's going to be very important here as well. Out comes the first Calmness, blocked from Terra. So all 4 party members heading up to Final Kefka for Yakko Wacko, and we have 3 in the Corpse of Cyan for Nani Gray here. Atma Weapon offering, Valiant Knife offering, and Ragnarok are what we're doing here with our damage. Probably will not bypass Fallen One. We do have several elixirs though. Alright,
let's take a look at that Bubbaski, not to be outdone. He's working his way through the finishing touches of tier 3. While Yakko attempts to catch Nani here. Oh, Fallen 1 for Nani. That's
good for his lock. Using X Potion on Leo, because Leo is our one with our Atma Weapon. So we'll see how much damage Nani does here. Out comes the Hyperdrive, and unfortunately that's going to hit Leo in the face. 1 HP. Terra going down for Bubba from the Calmness. Lock with 25 HP. Jeez Louise. And here comes Goner from Nani.
One more lock swing should end it for Nani. Well, maybe not. That healing may take him out of it. Let's see here.
Oh no, the Ragnarok miss.
Oh no, that may have done it. Yakko, I think, just needs to have his lock swing, and he's over with his fight.
Oh man, that is really unlucky, as that is an ultimate out from Yakko Wacko. Here comes Fallen One, so now is Locke's time to shine.
Most definitely. There it goes.
Oh boy, this is a photo finish here.
You ever saw.
Oh, it's because of the 4 less swings. Nani Gray is able to snipe it from him. Oh my goodness.
Well, I got spooky there at the end.
Yes, that certainly did.
Yes, it did.
Oh boy. Oh, Valiant Knife. Just Valiant Knife.
Get your GGs in chat here for both Nani Gray and for Yakko Wacko. The official times, let me see if I have them again here. So the official time for Nani Gray is 1:46.50. Then Yakko Wacko is 1:46.54. So 4-second difference. And then Bubba Ski 1:47.29. So what a race, Glue.
Yes, indeed. You think Yakko will remember the Moogle Charm next time in the tower? Because he did fight a counter, fixed a counter in each one of the 3 lanes. And if he had just put it on for one of those lanes, he'd be just fine sitting here in the driver's seat.
Yeah, well, it's tough because maybe he learned one of those spells or got an extra level or 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is, oh man,
Yeah.
What a wild finish there for us folks. Let's see here. So we do have Bubba's audio now. But yeah, so that was the top 3 runners of the semifinal Fallen run from last week's race. So if you enjoyed that, we have plenty of more Havoc Ring Championship Cup action that is going to be coming to you live. Hopefully we will provide you with another race tomorrow night. I know at least one runner will be able to run, and maybe we can line up another VOD to run alongside against that other runner. So be sure to stay tuned there. And then on Thursday, we are going to be doing our Fall Fastest Furs Marathon Submission. Saberwolf Lunar Chimera will be doing that at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So we got plenty of stuff going on Worlds Collide's Twitch channel. You got anything else you want to plug here, Drinks Glue? Maybe something you're involved with, perhaps?
I am trying a new yogurt. I don't. The jury's still out. We'll talk about that more later. But we do have numerous things going on. We did have a sync race between 2 of the 8 final competitors earlier this evening, and throughout the week, hopefully, we'll have a few more to show you of those 8 competitors as they compete to be the fastest Kefka Grand Prix champion of them all. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, this is a really fun one to watch back. I saw the times in the race room and thought that this would be good to showcase for everybody. So thanks to the runners for unwillingly knowing that I was going to put them on stream. But most of all, thank you for watching, and be sure to stay tuned or to tune in to our streams next time. And thank you so much, Glue, for doing double duty here, doing some commentary with me as well. Really appreciate it. And I think that'll about do it. So thank you so much, everybody, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Bye.